That blinding sparkle you see, it's meant to dazzle, but behind the shimmer lies something deeper, a hidden history written in conquest, not just craftsmanship. Every gem in Britain's crown jewels holds a story of power, politics, and the price paid by others. These aren't just pretty stones, they're global artifacts shaped by empire, and their origins span 6 continents. By the end of this video, you might not see the royal regalia the same way again. And stay tuned, because one of these gems is the largest diamond ever discovered, and today 4 nations are still asking for it back, while Britain refuses to return it. In 1905, a mine manager in South Africa spotted something glittering in the wall of the premier mine. What he found wasn't just a diamond. It was the largest gem-quality rough diamond ever discovered, a 3,106-carat monster worth more than the entire British treasury at the time. They named it after the mine's owner, Thomas Cullinan. At the time, South Africa was under British colonial rule, just a few years after the Second Boer War, a conflict that introduced some of the earliest internment camps in modern history. The Transvaal government, operating under British influence, purchased the diamond for £150,000 and gifted it to King Edward VII for his 66th birthday. Gifted. Let that sink in. The Cullinan was later cut into pieces, divided like so many African territories during the colonial era. The largest piece, the 530.2-carat Great Star of Africa, or Cullinan I, now sits in the sovereign's scepter with cross. The second largest, the 317.4-carat Second Star of Africa, or Cullinan II, is mounted in the imperial state crown. Together, these 2 stones alone are worth over $400 million. Today, many of the communities that once mined these riches face high unemployment and ongoing inequality. During the 2022 Royal Jubilee, South Africans launched the Return Cullinan campaign. The royal response? Complete silence. Then there's the Koh-i-Noor diamond. Mined in India's Golconda region, it passed through Persian, Mughal and Afghan hands before falling under British control. In 1849, it was signed over to Queen Victoria by a 10-year-old Maharaja Duleep Singh, after the British annexation of Punjab. Whether that was a gift or a forced surrender remains contested. Today, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan and Iran all claim rightful ownership. Its current value is estimated at over $200 million. And while the diamond remains locked in the crown jewels, the debate over its return is far from over. The crown jewels also include emeralds and pearls, no less valuable and no less contested. Many of the emeralds are believed to have come from Colombia, originally extracted during the Spanish conquest of the Americas and later passed through collectors into British hands. The pearls? Likely sourced from the Persian Gulf and South Asia, where divers risked their lives to recover them long before modern equipment. Their beauty today masks a history of peril and empire. Next, the Black Prince's ruby, mounted at the center of the imperial state crown, holds a secret. It's not actually a ruby at all. It's a red spinel, valued at roughly $4.7 million. But that's just the first deception. Its shadowy journey began in the 14th century Granada, where it was taken from the Moorish prince Abu Sa'id by Pedro of Castile, who then reportedly killed Abu Sa'id. A Spanish court chronicler wrote, "The prince came seeking protection, but found only death. Pedro embraced him with one arm while attacking with the other, personally removing the great ruby from his fallen body." The gem passed through royal hands until 1415, when King Henry V of England wore it into the Battle of Agincourt, where his forces defeated the French in one of the most legendary battles of the 100 Years' War. During the English Civil War, Oliver Cromwell pawned it along with all the crown jewels, calling them baubles of the barbarous king. When the monarchy was restored in 1660, not all the jewels were recovered. Charles II commissioned counterfeits to be made in secret, raising the question, is the current stone even the original? Today, historians from Spain and Morocco both claim rightful ownership. Britain's response, display it more prominently than ever. Then comes St. Edward's sapphire, the deep blue gem set at the cross on top of the imperial state crown. It has origins linked to intense religious upheaval. Legend claims it once belonged to Edward the Confessor, who allegedly gave it to a beggar who turned out to be St. John the Evangelist in disguise. Most likely, it was seized during Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries, when Catholic treasures worth billions in today's money were confiscated by the Crown. Church records describe armed men entered sacred spaces, ripping gems from reliquaries, melting gold crucifixes, and threatening death to any who interfered with the king's will. This wasn't simple collection, it was deliberate destruction of sacred artifacts from institutions that had stood for centuries. An estimated 850 monasteries were destroyed, their treasures taken, their inhabitants left destitute. The sapphire has become a symbol of not just material loss, but cultural erasure. The systematic destruction of Catholic heritage in England. Vatican archives contain over 30 formal requests for the return of these treasures, all unanswered. Another gem shrouded in royal exile is the 104-carat Stuart sapphire, set at the back of the imperial state crown, carries a history marked by escape and betrayal. When James II fled England during the Glorious Revolution of 1688, he took the sapphire with him, one of the few royal jewels to escape William of Orange's seizure of power. James's son, James Francis Edward Stuart, carried it in exile, a symbol of his family's lost claim to the throne. For Stuart supporters, the sapphire came to represent a claim to legitimate rule, one they believed was stolen through political betrayal. After generations of the Stuarts living in exile and the execution of their loyal supporters, the gem mysteriously appeared back in British hands. How? Court records suggest it may have been taken from the Stuart family when they were most vulnerable. A letter from a royal advisor to George III notes, "The acquisition of the Stuart stone has been completed through methods best left undocumented. His Majesty need not concern himself with the particulars, not just recovery, more like a quiet transfer from a fallen royal line." Often overlooked, the Cullinan Diamond in Queen Elizabeth's crown traces back to Britain's annexation of Burma, now Myanmar. British forces entered the country, deposing King Thibaw Min and Queen Supayalat in the Third Anglo-Burmese War. In celebration, British troops paraded Burmese royal treasures through the streets of London, where crowds cheered the empire's latest victory. Myanmar has requested the diamond's return multiple times since gaining independence in 1948, each time without success. The irony? Britain has criticized Myanmar's human rights record, while still displaying treasures taken from its cultural heritage. They call it tradition, but you've seen the trail it leaves behind. These aren't just jewels, they're souvenirs of conquest, trophies of empire. Subscribe if you believe wealth leaves tracks, and it's time we followed them.